It's the M44. It's the Tier 6 American SPG. This one's located on the north spawn of Cliff, and it's under the command of StuInTokyo. Well, I think we saw the equipment. It was showing that briefly for a moment. It was a rammer, a rotation device, I believe, and also the gun lane drive. It's got a 155mm howitzer mounted on the hull that would have belonged to an M41. And they did actually make this Arty. It's a real Arty, and he's going to play it. It doesn't get much love, the M44, not anymore. Not since Wargaming tamed it. Yes, they really did. They spanked it because it was responsible for so many casualties on the enemy team that, well, they decided they had to do something about it. And so they neutered it. They not only reduced its power, so it only does 500 alpha now. Used to be able to do 550, and they've also reduced the reloading time, or increased the reloading time. Used to be able to do 16 seconds on a reload, and I think you can see on this one he's got 22.4, but the standard reload is 21.09 seconds rather. So actually he's got quite a long reload there. Okay, fires his second round in. Oh, just ahead of the Skoda. Now you can probably tell that this is actually quite a long reload, or quite an old replay rather, mainly down to the fact, of course, it's before the 2.0 changes came in. So it's yes, it is an old one from September. Rounds out. Oh, again it went long. He's trying to fire as soon as he's loaded to maximize the number of shells he can put out in a game. And of course, that is the best technique, because if you can maximize your fire rate, then obviously chances are you're going to do a lot of damage to the enemy, and potentially, oh, walked into that one, and if you potentially, you could pick up a Confederate medal. That Cromwell is certainly feeling the pressure. He knows that he's under fire. In fact, he knows he's under fire from two Arty, because the GW Panther on our team is also firing in his direction. Okay, we're loaded. Rounds out. Oh dear, again, we're not getting much accuracy. That M4A3 actually managed to avoid that shell, because it went slightly to one side and it hit the lock face instead. But the Cromwell, well, he's gone down to our 45 TP. Now, she knows Stu in Tokyo. He actually is in Tokyo, yes, which is one of the most expensive cities in the world to be in. Very expensive. Property prices are incredibly high in that city. If you can afford to buy a property, well, you probably inherited it from a parent, or you probably inherited the mortgage from the parent. Put it that way. Okay, well, the M4A3 has gone down. He's been taken out. But the scores are still even at this point. Well, I spoke too soon, because we've gone down by one again. Yes, my nephew just recently got married, and he went off to Tokyo for his honeymoon. His wife is a barrister in the UK, which, if you don't know, a barrister is a lawyer who specialises in being in court and trying cases. But yes, so he married a barrister, and he even took her name as well, funnily enough, because, well, the funny thing was, because she's on so many documentation, so much... so well known in her profession, that yes, it actually made more sense for her to keep her name and for him to take her name, so that she didn't have to change any of her paperwork. Not that it was a paperwork thing as such, but actually it's because she's so well known. That one was on the rear of the turret, would you believe it? That chopper took her round to the bustle. Okay. I've yet to see my nephew to find out exactly how much fun he had, but there's so many things to see in Tokyo. And if you ever watch any of those travel shows to see what other people do, or what there is to see in any particular city, then you'll find that Tokyo has got plenty to see because it is such a huge city. But it's also got it's got 2 major airports. But you might say London has got 2 or even 4 major airports if you think about it, maybe even 5 if you want to include Luton, which is not really a major airport. Because, of course, London, you would definitely count Heathrow as the main airport, Gatwick as the secondary one, Stansted as the third. Then, of course, Luton, and you could also include Southend Airport, or even City Airport for that matter, because that's international. But yes, of course, Tokyo has 2 major airports. Of course, the usual one that everyone hears about is Narita, but there's also Haneda as well. And one's in the city and the other one's outside the city. And, well, we're 1 ahead on the enemy now. Some of the most amazing things you get to see in Tokyo is, of course, the way that they prepare food. They are really very, very, what should you say? They're obsessive compulsive about the way that they prepare dishes. And it really is spectacular. They look spectacular, but obviously I haven't tasted them, so I couldn't tell you if they taste good, but I would expect that they probably do. I think Stu is the one who probably can give us a better idea. Oh, no, that's interesting. He's just picked up a Confederate because one of the tanks he hit has actually been taken out by another teammate. In fact, 6 tanks that he's hit have been taken out. So he's well on the way to getting a medal. But it's not guaranteed that he will get a Confederate because, of course, somebody could beat him to the punch. That Jagd Panther is in a lot of trouble because we're loaded. And that's a hit. That's another one because he's not hit that one before. Now, he is kind of isolated down here because there's no other teammates other than the GW Panther to protect him. So if the enemy does come in his direction, he could be in trouble. But at this moment, that BK is in trouble because he's got 2 Arty and a tank aiming at him. And now we've got another tank coming to our protection. A G2 is making his way down to the western pass. So if that Jagd Panther does decide to push forward, he's going to come a cropper. We're just hunting for the target now. Of course, yeah, there he is. He's on the move. Of course, we haven't got an easy shot because that bend in the rock face there actually protects him. But yes, he didn't last very long. And in fact, it was the GW Panther who shotgunned him. And he got the kill. So now we're 3 ahead of the enemy. Unfortunately, the GW Panther just got wiped out. So that was unfortunate. But anyway, we're on the move. And we're getting closer to the enemy. And now we can see the setter who's on the cliff edge. Right on top of the hill. Next to the lighthouse. This was the old version of the lighthouse, by the way. And the setter, of course, looks like the CVRT, which apparently the Ukrainians really love. And for a good reason. Apparently the CVRT is very lightweight, which means, of course, in the incredible muds they get in Ukraine, it's much easier to move about because it's got much less in terms of footprint. It's not so much weight per square inch. And that means it's much easier for the tracks to bite into the ground and keep it moving. And of course, it goes very fast as well. It goes over 60 miles per hour. So I think that's something like 80 kilometers, or is it 70 kilometers now? Well, it's certainly very fast because, of course, it has a Jaguar engine as well. Well, the enemy are down to just 4 vehicles left. 2 of them are Arty. We've got 5. only one Arty. And of course this Arty will do 56.3 kilometers an hour because based on a light tank, the Walker Bulldog. I did say M41 earlier, didn't I? It's basically the same thing. Of course, the M44 has the distinction of being actually seen in the film Patton Lust for Glory. And of course, it wasn't around during the Second World War because it was actually designed and built in the 1950s. Yes, but they, by mistake, put it into the film. And you'll see it at the moment where there's a traffic jam and Patton gets out to direct the traffic jam. If you look at one of the vehicles that's moving through the traffic jam, it's an M44. Now, there's some question over how many they actually built. Supposedly, it's 250, but other figures say it's 222. So you don't know who to believe. But they did sell it to quite a few countries, including Germany, Greece, Belgium, Japan, Italy, and the United Kingdom. And Britain bought 58 of them, according to my logs. And 52 of them went to the British Army on the Rhine, and only 6 went to the UK, and they were used for training. Of course, Turkey bought a whole load of them, and they still have them in stock, apparently. They've been re-engineered, they've got new howitzers, and they're just being kept in reserve. During the recent war with ISIS, they were in, I believe, in action, or at least they were being held ready on the border. Okay, Nashorn, very thin armor, rounds out. Just missed him. Oh, that would have been so good. That landed in the cockpit. I think the Nashorn would have gone down. And unfortunately, that shot goes to the T-34-85, so we don't get it. And now we're down to just 2 on our team because we just lost our Tiger P. Their M44 got him. So it's 2 versus 3. They've got an M12, an M44, and a Hellcat. The M44's got 3 kills. The M12 doesn't have any at all. And we're trying to look for that Hellcat. He was last seen down by the cap area. Now, what is Stu going to do? It looks like he's moving to a new firing position. Of course, from this howitzer, he can fire over the entire range of the map, but I think he's changing his position so he can assist that T-34-85. Personally, I think it's probably not a good position to be firing from, and I say the reason for that, obviously, is that he needs to be able to fire towards his own cap, and from here he can't because that big rock face right next to him is in the way. He does have a better angle on the enemy area. He can plant around into there, but he's only got 16 rounds left, and 12 of those are armor piercings. Yes, they're the heat rounds. I can get this to come up. Capable of 360 alpha, 182 millimeters of pin, and with the non-stun HE, it's 600 alpha and 49 millimeters of pin, but you have to get very much closer, and they are in the cap. In fact, they've got 2 in the cap straight away, so as I said, he needed to be in a position so he could shoot into the cap area, and now he can't because he has to change position, and he can't fire from here either. He has to go to somewhere where the rock is not in the way. Okay, so we're into the last minute. They could cap out. In fact, they've got all 3 in the cap area. So the Arty and the... and there they are. We can see the M44. He's gone into a position so he can shoot. And unfortunately, the Hellcats hit him. Can he get a shot in? Well, auto aim on. The M44 goes down. And that makes it very difficult for them to now, because they've only got 1 in the cap. And they don't have enough time. So he's actually saved the win. Stopped the enemy from winning. And of course our T-34-85 is in a position where he can start doing some damage to them. Now if he can take out the Hellcat with 1 shot, Well, we're down to the last 10 seconds. Now, you can shoot from there. Okay, he's just there. That's it. Let it settle. Let it settle. And fire! Yes! Kill shot! Wins the game! Right down to the last second of the game, StuInTokyo fires his howitzer, wipes out the Hellcat, and wins the game for his team because the T-34-85 had already killed the other remaining Arty. So, yes, Stu gets one of the kills, the M44, and then he takes out the Hellcat afterwards. And, well, they turned that one in from a potential draw, or in fact, actually from potential loss, into a win with his actions. But I think he might have been easier for him if he'd repositioned earlier so that he could actually see into the cap area from a better position. I mean, he could have actually gone to the bush that is overlooking the ramp that runs up to the plateau area. And then he would have been able to shoot at the enemy without them being able to see where he was. He wouldn't have taken around for his troubles. But that was an ace tanker game for StuInTokyo. He got a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 10. He got a Confederate for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. And he got the final shot that got the final kill that won the game. And his win rate was 4,408, which is super Unicum standard. Let's have a look at team score. Well, there was only 2 players left alive at the end of that game. It was the T-34-85 and, of course, it was StuInTokyo. And the T-34-85 had the highest damage in the game. He got an Oskins medal, a high caliber, and he got a defender medal out of that one as well. So well done to him, because that is one hell of a lot of, if we look it up, look, come on up. Come on, let us see it. It's not giving in. Now it has. Okay, so that guy got a win rate of 16,806. He certainly earned it. He didn't have much in the way of hit points left at the end of the game. But he got an Oskins medal for killing 3 enemy tanks or tank destroyers and a medium tank, at least 1 tier higher than himself, the high caliber for the most damage in the game, and of course the defender for resetting the cap and getting 70 defense points in the process. So he did very well. He did 3,256 hit points of damage, of which 1,473 were at more than 300 meters. He did receive 4 hits during that game as well. And of course, he was particularly effective. He got 100 defense points by resetting the cap enough times to actually get that. And, well, that means that he is a bit of a hero, but so is StuInTokyo, because he was the one who got the winning shot that actually killed the Hellcat and actually made it. And it was right on the last second of the game as well. And I think you'll see that in a short while. The highest damage going to the T-34-85, 3,256. The second highest damage was the Ju-2 with 2,242. The third highest damage was actually the setter on the enemy team, got 1,863 hit points of damage. And we can see that StuInTokyo actually got the 4th highest damage in that one. When it came to kills, you can see it was the T-34-85 again. He got 5 kills in that one, so he's got 2 of the columns. The second highest was the M44 on the enemy team with 3 kills, and 2 kills went to the Ju-2 and StuInTokyo, and also to the setter, the Jagdpanther, the Nashorn, and the Hellcat on the enemy team. And when it came to base XP, it's, yes, the T-34-85, so he's got the top in all 3 columns, and he got 1,369, which is the only player to get over 1,000 base, but a short distance behind is StuInTokyo with 952, so he's second, and 921 went to the Ju-2. So very well done by these 2 players. You can see how effective they were. Let's have a look at detail. He fired 22 rounds. Well, you do get enough ammunition. You get 36 rounds of ammunition to play with, but he actually had a lot of heat rounds at the end of that game. And he really didn't need heat rounds. He really needed something that was very, very effective. And of course, because he had that extra HE, when that round hit the Hellcat, it did have the desired effect, and of course went right through and did huge damage to him. 9 direct hits on the enemy, 1 penetrating shot, and 14 splashes. 1,610 hit points of damage, of which 1,567 were up more than 300 meters, so there was some close shots in there. He also received 1 hit from the enemy. It was a penetration, that was from the Hellcat. 1 enemy vehicle spotted, 10 enemy vehicles damaged, 2 killed, and he got 748 hit points of damage assist and 1051 hit points of stun assist off 13 stuns. Now, if we just quick check to see which one did he actually penetrate, was it the M44? Yes, it was. Now, that one was a quick snapshot really on the enemy, but it took out the M44, and he was one of the ones that was capping at the time. And yes, so got rid of him with a penetrating shot. When it came to the rest, we can see that he spotted one enemy vehicle, damaged 10, killed 2. There's his Confederate, 748. We've been through all that. 13 stuns and 1 defense point. Obviously, somebody must have hit the M44 just before his shell went in, or at least he didn't get much defense points off it. But he did earn 15,847 credits on a free-to-play account and 1,904 experience points out of the game as well. Yeah, right down to the last second. Let's have a look at that. 15 minutes and 0 seconds is battle duration. So it was on the last split second that he killed the Hellcat and that won the game. So yes, it's worth watching that one again just to see that last split second and see what happened. Let it settle. And fire! Yes! Kill shot! Wins the game! I hope you enjoyed that replay. If you did, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.